I call this meeting to order. Everyone please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk Freiberg, will you please call the roll, please?
Trustee Pender?
Here.
Trustee Key?
Here.
Trustee Boyce?
Here.
Trustee Tingley?
Here.
Trustee Barta? Here. Trustee Delamano?
Here.
Mayor Mindy?
Here. There being a sufficient number of members present, this meeting is hereby declared to be in order. The first item of business before the board is a public hearing for the 2017-2018 annual budget. I open the public hearing. Clerk Freiberg, can you please swear anyone in who wants to speak?
Anyone who cares to speak about the budget, please stand and raise your right hand and repeat after me. Do you solemnly swear that this testimony you are about to give this evening is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Please be seated.
Will the finance director please give your report?
Thank you, Mayor. Before the village this evening is our 2017-2018 budget. Fiscal year 2017-2018 operating revenue covers operating expenses. Our highlights for this year's budget: construction to continue on WWTP number 2 expansion finance with IEPA loan. Design and construction of replacement water mains on Route 30 and Cedar Roads finance for IEPA loan. Rebating property taxes to our residents for the 8th year, 75% rebate budgeted for a total of $1,303,000. Completing the design of Route 30 metro station, and 1 additional patrol officer. We have reached one of our 4 strategic goals of maintaining over a 3-month operating reserve in the general fund. We are paving and improving almost $1.5 million worth of roads. And the budget includes money for finalizing Nelson Road extension. And the expansion of WWTP number 2 is expected to continue this fiscal year. There will be new water main projects initiated this year. And in conclusion, the fiscal year 2017-18 budget allows for the continuation of quality services for residents and addresses future capital needs.
Thank you for that report. Are there any questions or comments from the board?
When will the property tax rebate applications be mailed to the residents?
The applications are usually sent in October and due to the village hall in December.
How many roads will be paved this year?
The budget includes $1.482 million for roadway resurfacing. The village will repave approximately 6 miles of roadway this year.
Does the budget include installation of a sidewalk or bike path along Nelson Road south of Illinois Highway?
Once all the Nelson Road extension improvements are complete and the costs are finalized, we are hopeful that there is money remaining to install a bike path along that section of Nelson Road.
Does the budget include any new staff besides patrol officer?
No, the patrol officer is the only new staff position in the budget.
Thank you, Finance Director Responte. Now let's move on to order of business. Village Administrator Oxeter, please give your report on supporting small businesses.
Thank you. The mayor has created a small business commission that will meet with him and the economic development coordinator to advise the village on matters impacting small businesses and economic development.
Thank you for that report. Are there any comments or questions from the village board?
Small businesses are so important to the village. I'm glad we are reaching out to them to make sure they are getting the support they need.
How can business owners get appointed to the commission?
The mayor has identified a few potential members. Anyone else interested in being on the commission should contact the mayor's office.
Thank you. Let's move on to the teen concert in the Commons.
Thank you, Mayor. The village has received a request to hold a concert in the Commons by a band that will be more popular with teens.
What would the village's cost be for a teen concert?
The finance director can put together an estimate for police and public works overtime to work the teen concert.
I think a teen concert would be good. How will the bands be chosen for a teen concert?
The village can work with a group of teens to get their input on the concert.
I make the motion to put together a group of teens to form a committee for teen concert selections.
I second the motion.
A motion was made by Trustee Boyce and seconded by Trustee Key to form a teen committee. Cleek Freiberg, roll call, please.
Trustee Pender,
Yes.
Trustee Key,
Yes.
Trustee Boyce,
Yes.
Trustee Barta,
Yes.
Trustee Tingley,
Yes.
Trustee Delamano,
Yes.
Mayor Mindy.
Yes.
The motion is carried.
Motion carries. Next on the agenda is the Community Development Department. Ms. Bettner, please give us your report on Cleanup Day.
New Lenox Township is no longer sponsoring a community cleanup day. There have been requests from our residents for the village to do this.
What would the cost be for a community cleanup day?
I can contact the village's garbage vendor to see what they would charge for a cleanup day. Volunteers could also help along village roadways and open spaces.
A community cleanup day should be held in the spring. How can students needing community service hours or groups such as the Boy and Girl Scouts become involved?
Once the details are worked out, the village can reach out to these organizations and help schedule them.
Let's move on to the report about ice rinks.
The village has been asked to consider constructing an ice rink that could be used by hockey teams and open to the public.
Comments or questions from the board?
I agree that an ice rink is needed in the village, but this should be something the Park District would build.
An ice rink could be in partnership with the village, park district, and a private developer.
With all of the hockey teams in town, there are not enough ice rinks. Has the village been pursuing one, and where would it be located?
The village has not been pursuing an ice rink. The area by I-355 would be a good location because it could draw from a larger area and not cause too much traffic in the village.
There are people who figure skate and families that just want to go skating for fun.
I make a motion for the village to partner up with the Park District to develop a plan to install an ice rink.
I second the motion.
A motion has been properly made and seconded to partner with the Park District to help develop a plan to install an ice rink. Clink Freiberg, roll call, please.
Trustee Pender,
Yes.
Trustee Key,
Yes.
Trustee Boyce,
Yes.
Trustee Tingley,
Yes.
Trustee Barta,
Yes.
Trustee Delamano,
Yes.
Mayor Mindy.
Yes.
The motion is carried.
The motion carries. Let's move on to the engineer's report about the installation of stoplights at various locations.
Thank you, Mayor. The intersection of Route 6 and Parker Road is under the jurisdiction of the Illinois Department of Transportation, or IDOT, and the New Lenox Township Highway Commissioner, respectively. The contract for these improvements was awarded to Austin Tyler Construction Company last year. To date, IDOT has had utilities moved and the area has been cleared of trees and landscaping. The contractor is going to begin working at the intersection the week of April 17, 2017, weather permitting. The project includes a new traffic signal as well as designated left turn lanes at all 4 legs of the intersection and should be completed by the end of this year. The intersection of Washington Street and Cherry Hill Road is under the jurisdiction of IDOT for Washington Street and the Will County Division of Transportation for Cherry Hill Road. The village does not have any authority on either street. Staff can contact IDOT and Will County regarding a traffic signal at this location. The intersection of Francis Road and Gauger Road is under the jurisdiction of the Will County Department of Transportation. Staff can contact the county regarding the possibility of installing a traffic signal at this location. The intersection of Route 6 and Gauger Road is in the designing/bidding stage. The intersection improvements at Route 6 and Gauger Road include a traffic signal and left turn lanes at all 4 legs of the intersection. When the improvements are completed at Gauger Road and Route 6, our hope is traffic at that intersection of Francis and Gauger would improve.
Thank you for that report. Are there any comments or questions from the trustees?
What can the village do to encourage other agencies to improve these intersections?
Staff can reach out to other agencies with jurisdiction of the roads and let them know the concerns the village has for these intersections. Additionally, the village can investigate the concerns and propose a solution to the other agencies.
Why do I have to wait so long for the traffic light to change on Nelson Road at Illinois Highway? Is there any kind of detection system that can tell when cars are waiting at the traffic light?
There is a detection system at the intersection. There are cameras that can detect cars at the intersection and tell the light to change according to where the cars are located. Delays can be caused by a few things. Weather or wind may have moved the camera slightly, causing them to be inaccurate, or the signal timing may favor one direction of traffic over the other. Additionally, it may just be bad luck getting to the intersection at the end of the cycle that would have let you through the intersection. We will work with our maintenance contractor to ensure the best flow of cars at the intersection. The cameras have been redirected due to some of the very windy conditions we have had in the last few weeks. Our contractor has also adjusted the signal timing to give Nelson Road a longer green signal and Illinois Highway a shorter green signal. Staff will continue to monitor the intersection and make adjustments as necessary.
Thank you for that report. Let's move on to the next report, an overpass for CN Railroad.
The village's consultant has completed the preliminary engineering plans for the Gauger Road overpass over the CN Railroad.
How wide will the bridge be, and who will be responsible for the maintenance of the new bridge?
The bridge is designed for 2 lanes in each direction and an 18-foot wide median. The bridge structure would be built to accommodate the cross-section, but only the median and 1 lane of traffic in each direction would be constructed initially to match the cross-section on either side of the railroad tracks. Maintenance of the bridge has not been finalized at this time. There will likely be an intergovernmental agreement between the village and the Will County to address what each agency is responsible for.
When will the overpass be constructed?
The project is currently in the preliminary design stage. We have been in contact with the Will County Department of Transportation, who has jurisdiction of Gauger Road, as well as IDOT, the CN Railroad, and property owners in the area, and everyone agrees the bridge is a good idea. The issue is going to be how the bridge is funded. Currently, we do not have a timeline for construction.
Let's move on to the MFT program for 2017.
The 2017 MFT project includes the northwest area of the Bluestone Bay subdivision, Elm Drive, the south area of the Grand Prairie subdivision, and the north area of the Stonebridge subdivision.
Any comments or questions from the board?
When will this project start?
We have sent the project to IDOT for the review and have received a couple minor comments. We will address these comments and resubmit the project to IDOT for approval. Our current plan is to have the project out to bid by the end of April and award the contract at the end of May, with the construction starting by the middle of June. The project should be completed by the end of September.
How are the roads chosen for the MFT program?
The roads are chosen based on their condition. The worse the condition of the road or subdivision streets, the higher priority they get. The Engineering and Public Works Department work together to come up with a list of streets each year, which are brought to the village board for their input. Additionally, we work together on a plan for the next 5 years and monitor the condition of these streets and subdivisions. Then we make changes as required to the list.
I make a motion to approve the streets for the 2017 MFT program.
I second that motion.
A motion has been properly made and seconded to approve the 2017 MFT program. Clerk Freiberg, please, roll call, please.
Trustee Pender?
Yes.
Trustee Key?
Yes.
Trustee Boyce?
Yes.
Trustee Tingley?
Yes.
Trustee Barta?
Yes.
Trustee Delamano?
Yes.
Mayor Mindy?
Yes.
The motion is carried.
The motion carries. Let's move on to the next item on the agenda. Chief Building Inspector Wolcott, please give your report on refacing of older buildings.
Thank you, Mayor. There is currently no code requirement that makes it mandatory for the exterior to be remodeled. When remodeling does take place, the owners are encouraged to update the exterior and to make site improvements such as landscaping and new sidewalks.
Comments or questions from the board?
Why do some buildings stay empty for so long after they close?
When a commercial building is vacated, it can take time to hire a realtor and put the property on the market. Sometimes there's cleanup involved before a building goes on the market, similar to getting a house ready to sell. Because these buildings can cost hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars, it can be time-consuming to decide to spend that amount of money. If a building will be leased, the cost is not as great and the time might be less. Most of the buildings on Route 30 are for sale.
Are there any more questions regarding this item? Hearing none, let's move on to vacant homes. Chief Building Inspector Wolcott, please give your report.
Thank you, Mayor. The village recently created a vacant property registration that requires the most current property owner, which could be bank or property preservation group, to register the property with the village. This provides the code enforcement officer with contact information in case of an emergency or if the property needs to be maintained.
Thank you. Are there any trustee comments or questions? Hearing none, let's move on to the report of housing and other permit activity.
In regards to new houses, the village has issued 33 single-family permits from January 1st through March 31st. This is the same amount as in 2016. In regards to total permit activity, including permits for fences, sheds, roofs, etc., the year-to-date totals are 170 permits compared to 130 permits at this time last year.
Thank you for that report. How do these numbers compare to the same time last year and to the other communities?
In 2016, the village issued permits for 177 new homes, which is 15 more than in 2015. New Lenox issued permits for more new homes in 2016 than Frankfort and Mokena combined, and is the only Will County community in the top 10 for permits issued in the Chicago metropolitan area.
That is great news for New Lenox. Let's move on to Economic Development Department. The first item is restaurants and new businesses.
Thank you, Mayor. The village continues to pursue potential businesses and will be attending several International Council of Shopping Centers events this year to promote the village. With respect to the list of businesses, the board requested I contact Whole Foods has relayed that New Lenox does not have enough population to warrant a store. If the owner of Ranch Frosties wants to open an additional store, staff will gladly help them find another location. In-N-Out Burger has no stores in Illinois. Therefore, because Illinois is an expensive state in which to do business and hasn't had a budget for a couple years, we generally don't pursue retailers that have no facilities in Illinois. There is a reason that they are not here. Staff has contacted several sporting goods stores with sites in New Lenox. Unfortunately, these sporting good retailers haven't pursued it. Staff continues to send marketing materials and meet with them at retailer conventions, so we are hoping for one. I've never spoken to someone trying to open a comic book store, but if one is interested in coming to New Lenox, staff will help them find a space. I don't recall seeing one of these retailers at my retailer convention where we could approach them about opening a store in New Lenox. Same applies to an arcade. We have talked to Mod Pizza representative at a retailer convention, but they are currently building these in areas with higher populations. There are only 3 CC Pizza in Illinois, and they are in higher population suburbs such as Naperville, Niles, and Plainfield.
Any comments or questions from the board?
The village has so much to offer. What can we do to spark the interest of some of these restaurants and stores?
Staff has a list of retailers, restaurants, and commercial developers, and I continue to contact them about potential opportunities. In some cases, it is just about timing. As the village continue to grow or new shopping centers are built, these businesses may continue or may become interested in locating here.
Why do some national stores and restaurants come to New Lenox but others aren't here?
There are many different reasons why some national stores or restaurants come to New Lenox, but others don't. Every business has its own population requirement for community. Some businesses are franchise run, so it depends on if there is a franchise willing to open a business in New Lenox, or if there is a store or restaurant in Joliet or Orland Park. New Lenox may be too close to these communities to justify another location.
Why aren't there restaurants and stores by Silver Cross Hospital?
Staff has been marketing the numerous parcels of land near the hospital for approximately 10 years. If the recession hasn't occurred in 2008, a mall might be built by the hospital now. The main reason that we don't have any commercial businesses in this area is because no one wants to be first. Once the first big retailer makes the decision to come in, others will follow. Some commercial developer will bring in the big first store, but until it happens, we have to wait. Staff markets properties on a regular basis and is hopeful that one of these marketing efforts will bring in the first commercial business in that area.
Any more comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, let's move on to the Commons Mall.
It has been suggested that a mall be constructed in the Commons area. The village worked with a consultant to develop a master plan for the Commons a few years ago. The village does not own the property, and the village would not typically be the one to develop them all. The staff does show potential developers the common master plan to try and find someone that will help develop a shopping area consistent with the village's visions for the area.
I will contact the property owners and see if they would be interested in selling or developing the property.
I make a motion to work with the property owner in putting a design together for a shopping area consistent with the village's vision for that area.
I second the motion.
I have a first and a second to work with the property owner for a shopping area design. Cleek Freiberg, please call the roll.
Trustee Pender?
Yes.
Trustee Key?
Yes.
Trustee Boyce?
Yes.
Trustee Tingley?
Yes.
Trustee Barta?
Yes.
Trustee Delmano?
Yes.
Mayor Mindy?
Yes.
The motion is carried.
The motion carries. Let's move on to the police department. Police Department Draper, please give your report on crossing guards and traffic control.
There have been questions regarding crossing guards at intersections near schools. It'd be the responsibility of the schools to provide crossing guards. The police department could possibly have an officer stationed near a school that is located on a busier street. For instance, Oster Oakfield School is located on Cedar Road, which is a busy street. This might help with some speeding near schools.
Thank you for that report. Are there any comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, let's move on to safety on trails.
Thank you, Mayor. Residents have inquired about the safety of trails. The Old Plank Road Trail is governed by the Will County Forest Preserve District, and this request will be forwarded on to them.
Thank you for that report. Are there any board comments or questions? Let's move on to the next report on anti-drug program and addiction help from the Police Chief Draper.
This year, the police department has started the Second Chance program. The police department will help any person that is addicted to drugs and seeking assistance to find an inpatient treatment facility that will help them on their road to recovery. The police department will even provide transportation to these people to help them get to the facility. We have already had several people take advantage of this new program, and our hope is that we will be able to help many more people that suffer from the disease of drug addiction.
Thank you for that report. Are there any comments or questions from the board?
What does the village do to help prevent drug abuse?
The police department has always felt that education is a big part of prevention. We have a school resource officer that works in the district and speaks directly with children about the dangers of drugs and teaches them drug awareness and how to say no to peers in difficult situations. This coincides with the district's Red Ribbon Week and continues at different times throughout the school year. We have also partnered with different organizations, the most recent being the One Hero organization. Hero stands up for the heroin epidemic relief organization they work with, and they work with the community to help educate people on the dangers and signs of drug and alcohol abuse. They recently unveiled their new Hidden in Plain Sight trailer. This is a trailer that is set up like a typical teen's bedroom and helps parents detect everyday items and locations where their teen may hide drugs or alcohol. The police department is one of the sponsors of this program.
Are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, let's move on to speeding on William Street.
Recently, there have been complaints of speeding on William Street. William Street is under the jurisdiction of Will County. We will pass on the information to Will County Sheriff's Office.
Thank you. Are there any comments from the board? Hearing none, let's move on to the next item on the agenda. Public Works Director Curran, please give your report on sidewalk installation.
Thank you, Mayor. Public Works has been meeting with the Will County Highway Department to work with them on the installation of a sidewalk along North Cedar Road between Francis and Lennox Road that would allow students attending Liberty Junior High to use as a means to safely walk to school. An engineering study has performed, and because there's not a lot of room on the sides of the road because of ditches and utility poles and the fact the existing bridge south of New Lennox Road is narrow, the cost of the sidewalk installation makes it not feasible for this county at the time. With that section being a county road, there is little we can do without their approval and participation.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the board?
How long of a stretch is it from Francis Road to Lennox Road?
It is 1,600 feet with the cost around $600,000.
Who can I talk to at the county about this to stress how important a sidewalk or bike path is for the kids attending Liberty?
Ray Tumanello or Tom Weigel are the Will County board members representing our district.
Thank you for that report. Now let's move on to the Nelson Road CN railroad tracks.
The design drawings for the path that will connect the Illinois Highway to the Country Creek subdivision have been submitted to both the Federal Railroad Administration and the pipeline authorities for review and approval. And as soon as we receive comments back from them, we will be ready to go out for bids on that project.
Thank you for that information. Are there any comments or questions from the board?
Will the pedestrian crosswalk have to be signalized at the railroad crossing?
Yes, it will. The railroad has seen a steady increase of accidents at crosswalks over the last 10 years, and we will either have to have the gates widened to include all path to cross inside of them, or install a pedestrian gate to the outside of the existing gates.
What time frame are you looking at for completion?
Once approved and the bid is awarded, the project will take around 4 months, assuming the railroad can move or install new signals in that time.
Thank you. Are there any more comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, let's move on to the last item on the agenda, which is snow removal on sidewalks.
Thank you, Mayor. There's been some inquiries about the village cleaning the sidewalks after a snowfall. Due to the amount of sidewalks in the village, this is not a practical service to offer without adding a substantial amount of staff and costs.
Thank you for that report. Are there any questions or comments from the board?
How much sidewalk is in the village?
There are approximately 150 miles of sidewalk in the village.
Is there any advice you can offer a homeowner in relation to snow removal?
Yes, most homeowners are just concerned about the driveway and sidewalk, and many overlook that there may be a fire hydrant buried in the snow. If there is a hydrant on your property, please shovel around it so in the unfortunate case of the fire, the fire department can quickly locate them.
Thank you for that report. Are there any comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, I do hear a motion to adjourn.
I make that motion.
I second that motion.
Clerk Freiberg, please call the roll.
Trustee Pender?
Yes.
Trustee Key?
Yes.
Trustee Boyce?
Yes.
Trustee Tingley?
Yes.
Trustee Barda?
Yes.
Trustee Delamano?
Yes.
Mayor Mindy?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.
Great job, everybody. Families, thank you for being out here. I want to say thank you to our schools, Martino and Liberty Junior High. We've been doing this Student Government Day for quite some time now, many, many years, and it really gives us a good opportunity to interact with some of the younger people. I'm looking here at the dais, and I recognize a lot of familiar names, and I know that a lot of these young men and women that are up here already have a good grasp of what happens in local government. But it's important that all of our kids do. It's easy to be disenfranchised with government and with politics. I don't blame anyone for feeling that way. I feel that way. And checking out, but for the future of our schools, for the future of our communities, for the future of our state and our country, we need smart young people to be engaged and involved, and it starts at the local level. Let's face it, this is where you get your streets plowed, this is where your kids get educated, this is where they recreate in the park district. So what happens on a local level is extremely important, so we're grateful to have the partnership with our junior highs to be able to put this on. A big thank you, of course, to Laura Rule, our village clerk, and to all of our staff members who spent so many hours with the kids and preparing for this evening tonight. So I'd like to give them a round of applause. And now I'm going to ask the mayor here to stand up. All right, Mayor? And you can hand out the plaques. Go ahead. Well, here, you could call their name and they could come to you. That's the perfect thing. Is that they do the walking. Yeah.
Sarah Lindstrom. Carly Kaiser.
Lauren Wolcott. Sean Moran. Jack Oxton. Olivia Freiberg. Audrey Pender. Jack Heath. Lane Boyce. Michael Nash. Amelia Delmano. Alyssa Barta. Nick Tingley.
And our mayor, Megan Mindy. Congratulations. They do a wonderful job, and every year we do look at some of the suggestions that are made by our students. There have been quite a few that have been implemented over the years, whether it's extending sidewalks for safety. It's never the elusive community pool that people want, but we tell them to go talk to the park district. That's not our deal. But certainly we think it's more than just them coming up here and role playing. It really is important. We get to hear from younger members of our community what's important, and they have an opportunity to see what we do every day. And I will tell you, as the mayor, we have a successful community, not just obviously what I'm doing, but what we're doing with our trustees and all of our staff that isn't here. It's really a big team that works together, and the residents are a huge part of that as well. So congratulations to all of you. I think we're going to try, Laura, you're going to try to get everyone up front.
Take your name plates, and then maybe come on down here, we'll get our first photo.
I got a lot of bad things to say tonight, so I'm going to leave your name